Okay. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Very good evening. Department of Botany, Government City College, Autonomous Hyderabad. Sir is going to explain about the mycology, especially the fungi, characteristic features, reproduction, and classification. This is the most important topic related to all the type studies related to the all classes related to this fungi. So listen carefully, my dear friends. Sir, please start your session, sir. Please welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Where we are. Okay. Good evening to all. Young aspiring botanists and enthusiasts, naturalists, those who are interested in the botany. Very good luck to all. At least few people are having awareness or interest on the plant. Though all the living organisms are getting benefit from the plant, directly or indirectly, 100% getting benefit from the plant sources.
Sir, PPT is not visible, sir. PPT is not visible.
It already said, huh? It is not said.
Not visible, sir.
Just a second. Where it is? 750. I'm waiting. I'm waiting from 85. It's showing waiting for the host. Okay. Now, some young aspirants are having interest on the botany. That is very good thing. We as a botanist, we all make aware about the botany, plants, all the living beings. All are getting benefit from the plants. With the plant only, we could able to survive in the aerobic condition. Okay. Wish you good luck to get the PG and best institutions, to get more and more knowledge on the plant science, to get widespread the knowledge of the plant science. To the upcoming young budding scientists, students, researchers. Okay. As earlier we already discussed, the second largest group of living biota is the fungi. Study of the fungi is called as mycology. Father of mycology is Mycology. Father of modern mycology is Dr.D. Father of Indian mycology is a Butler. This all we discussed. And general characters we discussed. Thales organization types. So many questions are coming from the mycology, especially mycology and plant pathology. Now see your application. Okay. So many questions are coming from this. From the basic characters to applied characters, reproduction types, Thales organization type, antibiotics, medicine, economic important point of view, reproduction, various type of the reproduction point of view, fruiting bodies types, and characteristics point of view, cell structure point of view, flagellated point of view, and so many areas of the fungi are existing in almost all the competitive exam related to life science. Okay, the fungi study is not only come in the general botany, it also comes under microbiology, biochemistry, biotechnology, even in genetic study, molecular study. In all, the fungi study is going on. Okay, till now we have studied Thales organization, general characters, reproduction, nutrition. Now we are going to discuss about the classification. Classification means, you know the classification? Classification means anybody can? Classification. At least you know the taxonomy. Taxonomy means? Taxonomy. Ruchita. Taxonomy. What does it mean, the taxonomy? Taxonomy. Who is the father of taxonomy? What are the components are there in the taxonomy? Are you listening or not? Are you passive participants? Not an active participant. Who is that? Maria Mahavir, Nafis Sultana, Ruchita. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You respond.
Yes,
What does it mean, the classification?
I
Nothing. Okay, at least you know the 5 kingdom classification. At least you know the types of classification. How many types of the classifications are there? Don't you know? 3 types of the classifications are there now. Can you say?
artificial classification,
Yes.
natural classification,
Next. Phylogenetic classification.
phylogenetic classification.
You know the meaning of, what does it mean, the natural classification? You know, we all are the taxonomists. Either we are the literate or illiterate, but we all are the taxonomists. Do you know how we can say we all are the taxonomists? Can you say any example? No.
Okay.
You know what you have eaten today? What you want to eat today? What you have wear today? What you have drink today? That is based upon your ideas, your interest, your source of availability. Na? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
In that, are you categorizing or whatever it is you are eating, whatever you are wearing? In daily life, we categorize, we classify, we distinguish, we separate, we select few among the more and more available resources. Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
That is nothing but taxonomy. Categorization, distinguishing, separation, variation, that all comes under taxonomy. Taxon means arrangement. Norms means rule. Arrangement as per rule, as per law. Taxonomy is nothing but arrangement as per law. That means systematic arrangement. Systematic arrangement. When we arrange our house, our home, our whatever it is, the material, whether we arrange systematically or we throw here and there. We throw here and there only. We can't set it arranged systematically. Does you arrange systematically or not?
Yes, sir.
Oh, your response is very delayed. Okay, we will go to the chapter. You know the Whittaker classification? Whittaker 5 kingdom classification.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are those? What are those 5 kingdoms?
Plants, animals, fungi,
Huh.
plants, animals, and Monera.
Plants, animals, and Monera. Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animaliae. Okay, these are the 5 groups. Living organisms are divided into 5 groups as per whose classification?
Whittaker.
Whittaker classification. We divided the living organism into 5 kingdoms. That means here you see fungi are separated as a kingdom. It are not included in the plants, not included in the animals. Okay. Fungi are separated from the plants and animals. At that time, in the 1969 also, the fungi are separated. Fungi are separated from plants and animals. You see the Monera, the prokaryotes. Monera, prokaryotes, you know the bacteria that comes under the Monera. No, Protista, eukaryotic organism, unicellular eukaryotic organism, and it having the both plant and animal characters. Euglena, Paramecium, both the characteristics, plant characters and animal characters. Okay, but single cellular, unicellular organisms. And then the higher organism, eukaryotic higher organisms are divided into 3 that are fungi, plantae, and animalia. Okay, here what we are going to discuss is the fungi kingdom. The fungi are separated into kingdom. Up to the kingdom level, they are classified the fungi, not included in the plants. But you know, as per Eichler classification, plants are divided into as per Eichler classification, plants are divided into 2. We already discussed now. Cryptogams and
Phenograms.
Phanerogams. Okay. Non-flowering plants and flowering plants. Okay. Non-flowering plants and flowering plants. Cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams again divided into how many? Already discussed it. Cryptogams, non-flowering plants again divided into 3. What are those? Thalophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. Thalophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. Okay. Thalophytes, which having the thallus-like flat structure. Thallus-like structure. There is no root, stem, leaf-like organization. Root, stem, leaf-like organization is absent. Only thallus-like, flattened, mat-like structure is present. That type of the plant is called as thallophytes. Plants which having the flattened, thallus-like body are classified as a thallophytes. You know, we already discussed it. Thallophytes again divided into 2. What are those? Algae and fungi. Algae and fungi. Thalopoids are divided into two groups that are algae and fungi. You know, algae are chlorophyllous autotrophic thalopoids. What does it mean, the algae? What is the definition of algae? Chlorophyllous autotrophic. Chlorophyllous autotrophic thalopoids are called as algae. They are autotroph, they can synthesize their own food material. And echlorophyllous, no chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is absent. And heterotrophic. Chlorophyllous and heterotrophic. Echlorophyllous and heterotrophic thalopoids are called as fungi. Echlorophyllous, heterotrophic thalopoids are calling as fungi. There is no chlorophyll. There is no food production for their own self. It depends on others. That's why we calling it as heterotrophic. Which trophic level it is? Not autotrophic. Heterotrophic. It depends on others for their own food material. Here, as for Eichler classification, it is included in the plants, in the thalopoids, primitive plants. It considered as a primitive plants. Fungi are considered as a primitive plant. It having the plant characteristics and also having algal characters and bacterial character. Some of the animal characters also is there. What are those animal characters? Having the flagella, movement, cell wall is made up with chitin, as like an animal, insects, and mitochondria also as like a dictyosomes, as like an animal. These are the animal characteristics of that. Absence of the chlorophyll. And plant characteristics also is there in the fungi. What are those? Cell wall is present and division is taking place by budding and spores form. Hello, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, done. Okay, as for Eichler classification, fungi are included in the plant kingdom. Even in the phylogenetic classification, Engler and Prandtl classification also, fungi are included in the plant. But as per Whittaker classification, fungi are separated as separate kingdom. Separate kingdom. Given the status as like a kingdom as like a plants and animals. Okay. It having the plant characters and animal characters. Okay. These are the basic things. Okay. This you should remember. And then, we have to erase this all. No? Have you understood? As for Eichler and some other phylogenetic classification, fungi are included in the primitive plant. But as for Whittaker, fungi are given the separate kingdom status. That you should remember. Okay? And then we will go we will go further classification of the fungi. You know, the fungal classification, so many classifications are there, and so many various type of the classifications also is there, based upon medicinal value, based upon spore types, based upon thallus organization, and based upon variability, and based upon the disease causation or causating agent. Like there's so many type, medical type of the fungal classification, and various aspects of fungal classifications are there. But in our academic study, we are discussing the general fungi classification, even in the natural or artificial or in the phylogenetic classification. Three types of the classification of the fungi. As for general classification, we know fungi classified into two, Myxomycota and Eumycota. False fungi and true fungi. False fungi and Nafis.
True fungi.
True fungi. False fungi. Myxo, false. Mycota, mystis. Myx means molds, mushrooms, not myx. Myx means molds or mushrooms. Myxo means false. False molds, false mushrooms. And Eumycota, real, true fungi. Okay. As for phylogenetic classification of fungi, so many various type of the classifications are there. First, Alexopolus and Mims classification. Alexopolus classified the fungi into only three groups. That is Gymnomycota and Mastigomycota and Emastigomycota. But as for fungi study in UG and PG level, we are following whose classification? That also comes as a question. Whose classification we are following?
Eichler.
Butler classification. Butler classified the fungi based upon pathology, disease causing agent. That we are not following. Whose classification? We should remember Ainsworth classification we are following for the fungi classification. Who is that? Ainsworth. Ainsworth classification we are following for the classification of fungi. Okay, we are using these major criteria, characteristics for the classification of the fungi. What are those? Main morphological characters, how it is look like, whether it is filamentous or unicellular or septate or aseptate, simple porous poroseptae hypae or dolichopore septa hypae, and whether it having the flagella or not, whether it is a cell wall, okay, morphologically, how it is. That all the characteristics we are taking consideration for the classification of fungi. Even for algal classification also we followed in most of these characteristics. Morphology, cell wall, nutrition, chemical component, this all. Here in the fungi we are following anatomical characters also. How it is anatomically, how the spore structure, how the oval structure, how the fruiting body structure. We all studied the asexual and sexual fruiting bodies. Asexual fruiting body, what are the asexual fruiting bodies of the fungi? Cinnama, not cinnama, not cinnama pedama, cinnama. Cinnama, Sporodochium, Acervulus, Pycnidia. The competitive exam they ask the question, which among is the asexual fructification, asexual fruiting body? What are those four? Cinnamon, Sporodokia, Cinnamon, Sporodokia, Acerulus, and Pycnidium. Okay. And what are the ascospore types? That also come as a question. Ascospore types. This all taken consideration in the classification. What are those? Clistothecium, Perithecium, Apothecium, saucer shape, and Ascostroma or Pseudothecia. Okay, and nutrition and physiology. Physiology, how it is, how the cell wall structure, how the physiological function, how the nutrition, what type of the nutrition, either it is obligate parasite or facultative parasite, obligate, either it is saprophyte or symbiont or parasite, or what are those type of the nutrition, other type, predaceous. And chemistry of low molecular weight compounds. What are the chemicals which are there? Either it is steroids, alkaloids, proteins, peptides, chitin, what is the cell wall component variation? That all taken consideration in the classification. Okay. In the classification, these all are taken consideration for the classification of fungi. They ask the question, what are the main components for the consideration of fungi classification? What are the criteria? Which among is taken consideration in the classification of fungi? You should know these all six. By that you can categorize, separate which one it is. Morphological, anatomical, nutrition and physiological, and chemical components, and cell wall composition, and molecular sequencing, DNA and RNA sequencing, phylogeny. Okay, these all taking consideration for the classification of fungi. Okay, you know, fungi are ubiquitous. That means cosmopolitan in distribution. Everywhere in all type of the habitat, almost all the fungi are there. Most of the fungi are present in almost all varieties of the habitats, even from the psychrophilic cold to thermophilic high temperature. Okay, and but this fungi having the variation in their ecological behavior, reproduction, morphology, biochemistry, and physiology. Physiological character, biochemical character, nutrition, morphology, cell wall component. Variations are there from genus to genus, from species to species. Based upon that, Ainsworth. Who is this? Who is this?
Ainsworth.
Ainsworth proposed a natural system of classification of fungi that is based on
Morphology,
especially reproductive structures. A reproductive structure, what type of vegetative or asexual or sexual reproduction is taking place in the fungi. This question also raised. Ainsworth classification is the what type of the classification? Natural system of classification or artificial system of classification or phylogenetic system of classification?
natural system.
Yes, that you should remember. There is a natural system of classification. Whose classification? Ainsworth classification. This question raised. Okay. Ainsworth classification, Alexopoulos and Mims classification is a natural system of classification. Whereas Uptal classification, Corbiol classification, these two advanced classifications are phylogenetic classification. Okay. You know what is the natural system of classification in angiosperm? That question also raised. In angiosperm classification, which is the natural system of classification? You might have studied angiosperm classification. Taxonomy of angiosperms you have studied now. Who is the father of taxonomy? Who is the father of taxonomy? Your grandpa, your grandma. Who is the father of taxonomy? You know Linnaeus.
Yes, sir.
Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy. Linnaeus classification is called as what type of the classification? Linnaeus classification. Among the three types of the classification, Linnaeus classification is what type? Natural, artificial, phylogenetic. Which one?
Natural.
So many times asked the question. Linnaeus classification is?
Natural classification.
Got the good do. Linnaeus classification is artificial classification. You know, Theophrastus, Linnaeus classification is the artificial classification. So many times asked the question. Linnaeus classification is, or Linnaeus classification, what type of the classification is? Artificial, natural, phylogenetic, like the all the above or none of the above. Which one? Linnaeus classification is the artificial classification. Don't forget. Okay. Artificial classification, not the natural classification. He has taken only the stamens character, only one character, only one morphological character. That's why it is called an artificial classification. It's not taken all the morphological character, not considered all the morphological character for the classification. You know, that's why we're calling it as artificial classification. Whereas the Bentham-Hunter classification we called as natural system of classification and angiosperm. You forgot. Bentham and Hooker classification is the what type? Natural system of classification. Whose classification is the natural system of classification in angiosperms?
Bentham and Hooker.
In the fungi?
Ainsworth.
Ainsworth classification is the natural system of classification of fungi. Bentham-Hunter classification is the natural system of classification of angiosperms. Okay, don't forget. What is the book written by the Linnaeus? Which book is explain about the binomial nomenclature? That all you should know. You have studied the taxonomy. I think just read what questions will come in the exam. That essays only you have written and write. That's it. You have to write. You have to read all the book, all the syllabus. If you read only the question, important questions, 5 or 10 or 15 important questions, you can't get the seat in the competitive exam. If you go through all the book, then only you will get the seat in the best institute in higher education. Okay. If you ask for the important question, your teacher, you are delimiting your ability. I understood. Okay. Here it is the Ainsworth classification is the natural system of classification of fungi. Okay. And Bentham-Hunter classification is the natural system of classification of angiosperm. Okay. And which what we have taken consideration in the classification, almost in all the classification, either in the artificial or in the natural or in the phylogenetic classification, we taken consideration of reproductive structures, flower characters in angiosperms, reproductive structure in the cryptogams. Okay, this question also raised. What part? Are vegetative part, are aerial parts, or underground part, or reproductive parts? Which parts, which organs is taken consideration in the classification? Reproductive structures, floral characters. That you should remember. That question also raised. Okay, and then here we are going to discuss the classification of the fungi. You know, I already told you the fungi classification. You see, what are those? Readouts. Sultana, Ruchita, read out. Don't waste the time. Don't you read? No. Okay, I can't depend upon you. You are not listening carefully. You are not spending your mind on the class. Okay? Just what we are studying here, the Ainsworth classification. What it is? Ainsworth classification of fungi. Natural system of classification, Ainsworth system of classification. You see, the kingdom fungi are divided into two groups. What are those two groups?